All right, guys, thank you for being part of the credit game. My name is Mike. Every day I come to you to bring you videos on the latest things that I hear about, the strategies, the tips, the know. Like you have to know credit. And that's one thing that I share on my channel is just knowing the insides and outs of how credit works and some of the ways to get credit cards, the ways to get better interest, how to have a higher credit score. Remember that 3-digit number that we talk about all the time called your FICO? Well, that dictates basically how you live. It dictates what car you drive. It dictates if you get a house, a better apartment. It dictates whether you get credit cards. It pretty much dictates your life. And I feel like as an adult, we talk about this as a kid's toy, right? Or, if you're looking from the analogy of a scoring, right? Like as a kid, you get letters. And the higher your letter, like if you get F's, that's bad, and A's are great. Well, as an adult, the way we're graded as, being in society where we got to buy on an economic planet, you guys know that this is an economic planet, right? Where you have to buy things and everything we do is based on finances, right? So as an adult, we are graded by our 3-digit number, known as your FICO score. Okay, it's the Fair Isaac, which is what most people use. There are a small group of lenders that are still using the Vantage 3.0, but the majority of lenders have moved to FICO. And so your FICO score going from all the way down in the 300s all the way up to 850 dictates to lenders to say, hey, is this person responsible or not? Should we lend to them? So as an adult, we want to have a higher, closer to the 800s, than the lowers, right? And then there's a lot of people that walk around with 300, 400s, and 500s, and even 600 credit scores, and they just don't have the education or the know-all to where do we start? How do we know where to start when it comes to credit? So today I'm going to talk about how to get high-limit credit cards without using your social security number, okay? But first, since I come to you all day, every day, couple times a day, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button for me now. If it's your first time on the channel, welcome aboard. I come to you 6 days a week, multiple times a day, so you guys really learn credit. And I want you to know that when the videos are coming in, if you would also do me a favor and hit the like button, because this video is going to be awesome. Also, there's a bell. Make sure you turn your bell on and select the word all, so that way when the videos are coming in every single day, you'll just get a notification saying, hey, Mike for the Credit Game just put YouTube up, okay? So how are we going to get credit cards? I'm going to share with you kind of the origin of how this happened, but also I want to share with you how to get credit cards, high-limit credit cards, without even using your social. Is this even possible? Is it a thing? It is a thing, okay? So many, many years ago, about 15 years ago, okay, there was the government that came out and said, what we're going to do is we are going to protect the high level in the White House. So this actually was originated from inside the government. And so what they said is instead of the president and some of the high level executives, right, Congress, they don't want to give out their social security number. Because when you give out your social, it's tied to your address, and then, people can find you, right? Which is why the president and most of the higher level government agencies, and even a lot of the NFL players, do not actually give out their social security number. And the reason is, it is for a protection for them not getting found, right? So what happened was, the Social Security Administration said, hey, let's issue a 9-digit number that basically replicates a social security number, right? Same thing. It's a 9-digit number, nothing different. But what we want to call this one is a credit protection number, AKA, and some of you guys know where I'm going with this, is called a CPN, okay? Other people may know this as a SCN, which is a secondary credit number, okay? So credit protection number, CPN, or an SCN, secondary credit number. But they're the same thing. Essentially, what they are is a number that is assigned from the Social Security Administration to protect people in power from consumers finding them. Now, this is where it started many, many years ago, about 15, 16 years ago. Today in 2021, there are people, and this has been happening since really, once you get something out, it leaks out, the black market takes it over, and people find out different ways to scam the system. So what happens is this. Every state issues, the Social Security Administration issues Social Security numbers to that state each year, okay? When a Social Security number is no longer used, in other words, they've handed out, at the beginning of the year, they've handed out all of the Social Security numbers. But let's say North Dakota, okay? They put out, whatever, 500,000 numbers, okay, for the year. Well, when there are numbers that are left over, they are known as dormant socials. Means they were never attached to a person. So what happens on the black market is people reach out and figure out, okay? I'm not going to go into details how they do it, but I know how they do it. They get a hold of the dormant Social Security numbers that were never attached to a person. Now, let's fast forward. The CPN number, when it made it to the black market, what happens is this. People can then purchase a CPN number. So we'd have people that would grab these dormant socials, okay, and or I'm going to go a little deeper, deceased people that will no longer use their social, or children who have never used a social yet, right? So my son being 13 years old, he has a Social Security number, but he hasn't used it, and he probably won't use it for the next 5 to 6 years until he turns 18 and starts building credit. So is that social technically not used? Yes. And what about a deceased person who's used their social whole life, but they're not going to come back and say anything because it's a deceased person, okay? And what about the Social Security numbers that were given by the Social Security Administration, but then were never used because they were dormant, okay? These are all known as CPNs, okay? There's also a little factor in there that some people do. It's called a randomization, which is where they take the 9-digit numbers and they just randomize a 9-digit number and they sell them. This is a huge, huge thing right now, okay? In fact, it was really big back in 2016, 2015, 2016, 2017, until when I tell you what happens. Now, let's talk a little bit about what happens here in the process of getting credit cards without using your social. You could take and purchase a CPN number, okay? Street value, somewhere between $300 and $500, okay? So $300 to $500, you buy this number. Now, this number, according to the Social Security Administration, is not attached to you because it's not. The number's not attached to you. So what you did was you bought basically a 9-digit number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, obviously not those numbers, but you bought a number. It's not attached to you, your name. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take that number and you're going to try merge it to you. Okay? And in this process, you're going to do multiple applications from different mortgage companies and different credit cards, and you're going to use your address, okay, which is going to be a makeup address. And then you're going to take that address and you're going to merge it to you, okay? So essentially, it's going to be your first and last name, different address, and then this number. So what happens is now you have a blank slate, but also the number is not attached to you. So here's what people do. They get these CPN numbers, they try merge it, and then they go out and start applying for credit cards. I know this because a really good friend of mine did this. He was able to get a $20,000 credit card. Not the first credit card, but after multiple credit cards and paying them back on time, he was able to get a $20,000 Navy Federal credit card. And then his house burnt down. And what happened was after his house got burned down, he was out of work because he worked out of his home. And he wasn't able to pay those credit cards back. You see, where most people make the mistake with CPNs is the repayment. So think about it this way. You have a CPN number, you get some credit cards, and then you don't pay it back. Well, when you don't pay it back, there's no attachment to you, right? So you think there's no attachment to you because now you have a number that is not technically attached to you by the Social Administration. Therefore, you can default on credit cards and they can't come after you because it's not technically you. There's no recourse. It's basically known as a non-recourse, so which means you could screw over the banks and then the banks can't find you because they don't know where you are. It's a made-up address. And how many John Smiths are there? There's a lot of John Smiths, right? So this is how the CPN game works. Now, I'll tell you a little story about last year, 2020. Right here in Orlando, Florida, right outside of Orlando, Florida. There was a guy by the name of Teron Armstrong who, for many years, run this elaborate scheme, him and a couple other co-defendants, where they were in the mortgage industry and they're getting people mortgages and cars and all different things. And just last year, he got sentenced to 259 months in federal prison, 21.3 years in federal prison for doing CPNs. This is not a game. You Google this, CPN arrest, and then just put your city and state in there. CPN arrest, put your city in there. While most people feel like it's something that, is, safe, there are hundreds and hundreds of arrests, and they're not taking it easy. This is not something that they're 259 months for the next 20 years, and his co-defendants ended up getting 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 3 different co-defendants. So how would you like to spend the next 5 to 20 years in prison for a number that costs you $200 that you maybe got a total of $20,000 of credit cards? And I'm going to tell you why. This practice is a headache. So everywhere you go, you're looking over your back, over your shoulder, right? Think about it this way. You now need a driver's license that's got to match the CPN information. So now you have a fake driver's license. Then everything you do, from getting documentation, from your public record, everything you do requires. How about opening a bank account? Try going in there as somebody else, right? It becomes a massive headache, and the risk is much higher than the reward. So, sure, you could get credit cards using a CPN number. But my question would be this, after hearing that, what if you didn't have to use a CPN number? What if you could just use your regular Social Security number that's actually issued to you because you're not trying to defraud banks, because you don't want the easy way out, because you want to be ethical, because you want to do the right thing and actually, and let me tell you something, when you get your reel fixed, let me tell you, it is 1,000. Listen, guys, I've been doing this a very long time. I know every ins and outs about credit, CPNs, numbers, how they work, the credit industry, been around, I know it very well. It is 1,000% easier to get credit cards, loans, vehicle, rentals, everything you want when your real Social Security number is fixed than using a CPN. It is probably one of the biggest headaches to try to remember everything. Different date of birth, okay, every time you got to remember your CPN number, different date of birth, what address do I live at? It's just a big deal. You're always like this, always looking over your back. And then if it catches up to you, I'm telling you, it's not a hey, slap on the wrist, you're going downtown. It's, hey, you're doing some time. Because they're so sick and tired of people defrauding banks that, So if you're listening to me now and you're like, look, Mike, I got a CPN. Okay, and you may be fine. You may be fine. So take this as a warning. I don't condone them, but I am going to tell you that it is a warning that may, if I can change one person's life by this video and think, you know what, maybe I don't want a CPN thing anymore because of the risk. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you. What I am telling you is that just Google it right there in your site, CPN arrest, and put your city and state in. You'll see. They are coming in like wildfire. So the easier way to do this is just get your reel fixed. It is not hard to fix your reel. In fact, it's much easier to actually fix your real social because of technology. So inside the credit game, I have put the best. Okay, so here's how you want to do this. Okay, let's say hypothetically you guys are at a 550 credit score. Let's just use that number. You're at a 550 credit score and you're like, you know what? I want to get my real social fixed. That means you probably got about 8 to 10 collections on there. Okay, maybe they're charge-offs, collections. Instead of going the route of getting and purchasing a black number, okay, that could get you arrested very fast, okay, and try to build up with the headache in between all of it, how about you just take that money that you were going to spend anyway, right? Because you're going to need trade lines, right? You're not getting a CPN number and just thinking you're going to get all once you're going to start getting credit card. You need to get the CPN number. Then you need to attach multiple trade lines, know exactly what trade lines to put on, progressional file, right? The same thing that you don't need to do with your reel. You see, with your reel, because there's a public record established, because there's history on it, once you clear off the negatives, very simply I can show you, okay, this is the primary you need to put on. If you do want some age, because maybe you don't have some age, I have the vendor that's going to give you 50% off of trade lines. I'm going to show you exactly what line to put on, how much credit limit, how much age, and what bank to use. So then you can take that and go to Navy Federal and do it the legit way and actually get a better credit limit. And you don't have to look over your shoulder. So the question is this. Do you want the Lambo package, which is results in 45 days or less? Or do you want the Maserati package, which is still the fastest credit repair on the planet and results in 90 days? Both are going to get you to the job. Both are going to get you to the promised land. The question is, do you want to get there faster or do you want to get there slightly slower? Inside the program, the vendor has two different options. The Lambo, extremely fast. The Maserati, fastest, digital. Now remember guys, either one of these packages are done with software. This is not letter format. This is not about sending out a letter, waiting for the credit bureaus to come back to say deleted or verified. This is software. This is maybe knowing somebody on the inside. This is maybe, look, here's what I'm going to say. You can do this all yourself. You have the legal right to challenge all of your information yourself. Average person, 18 to 24 months to be completed. If you got 18 to 24 months, have at it. Do your own stuff. Everybody can do them things themselves. This is why we hire professionals. This is why we get the work done fast. And by the way, my vendor's the best in the nation. So I'm not, I'm not bringing any slug on. I'm not bringing somebody in that's doing the letter format. There's technology in 2021. And there's only 2 or 3 people in a nation that have the software to be able to do it. And inside the credit game, it can be done. So I'm going to lead you guys with this. I'm going to leave you with this. Question number 1. Yes, you can get credit cards without using your social. But question number 2 would be, why would you want to do that? There would only be one reason that you would want to use a CPN number versus your social in 2021. And that's because you're trying to defraud a bank. There's no other reason. The time frame is the same. The less of a headache using your social is much better. There's no risk to the legal. You're not going to get arrested fixing your real social. The only thing about it is you wouldn't want the recourse. You would want to get credit cards and not pay them back. And if that's you, you probably shouldn't be watching my channel. But if you're like, hey, you know what? Why don't I fix my reel so I can protect myself and my family and my children because I want to do the right thing? This is what we do here. and I want to educate you guys on how to do it, but I also want to educate you on things that are out there, because maybe some of you guys had no idea what a CPN or an SCN number is. There's people out there right now that have figured out things that, I mean, in the credit world that probably even I don't even know. So here's what I want to do. I want to get you guys the help you need. Okay? The right way, the legal way, and the fastest way on the planet. But I need you to take one step in front of the other and say, you know what, Mike? I'm ready. I'm tired of living with bad credit. Tired of living with a 600, a 500, a 400, or even a low 700s. Because it's holding you back from the things that you want to do. Take a second and think about what you would do if you had the 800 credit score. What would you do? I've asked this question multiple times. I said, what would you do if you woke up with an 800 in credit score? And so many people said, I would start my business, I would retire early, I would buy my mom a house, my grandma a house, I would buy my first house. Man, I would get out of the ghetto. Man, I would drive something I want to drive instead of what I have to drive. And then that question it resonated with me. When I asked it, I got so many people saying I would do this, this, and this, but yet you don't do anything about it. Why do we say we would do all these things, but yet we don't want to take action to make those things happen? Nobody's going to fix your credit. The only person who's going to fix your credit is you. I can influence you and tell you, hey, this is what you need to do so you can get to your goals. But if you don't take action and call me, I can't help you. I want to get to know you. I want to have a conversation with you. You know, I want to say, hey, I want you to be one of the other. We've got 500 5-star reviews of people that have changed their life. And, you know, one came in yesterday. I was at a 464 credit score. Mike, in the last 60 days, I'm nearly a 700 credit score. You've changed my life for myself and my family. I can't thank you enough. These are the kind of things you want. We're not talking about 6 months, 6 years. We're talking about 60 days, guys. We had people that are on our Lambo package that said, I've had 12 collections removed in 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Just go to the website and look. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about, guys. We change lives, and we want to change yours too. So, again, there's 2 options. You can go the CPN option. Just know the risk. That's why I want to come to you and tell you. Or you can do it the right way. Fix your reel. Get yourself in a position and learn the credit game, because this whole platform teaches you everything you need to know along the way. So that way, once you get to an 800 credit score, you know how to maintain it and never go backwards again. So what I want to do today is I want to pay for your elite credit repair. I want to pay for your elite credit repair. I want to make sure that I get you 50% off of age Tradeline so you can get history on your credit report. And I'm going to offer both of those by getting into any one of my packages, whether it's your associates or whether you go say, I want a bachelor's, or maybe you say I want a master's or the elite, whatever it is. I'm going to cover both of those vendors as part of my program today. But I'm only going to help 5 people. I wish I could help every single person and do this for everybody, but I can only help 5. So I will offer this to the first 5 people that call in. That I'll say, look, here's what I'm going to do. So again, if you're watching this video, please, as soon as you watch the video, if this is you and you're serious about changing that 3-digit number that's holding you back, be one of the 5 people. Just call. Just say, you know what? I want to call. I want to get it done. I'm serious about changing my life. I'm serious about changing my future, because this is not a joke. This is the rest of your life. This is an investment that will change absolutely everything in your life if you want it. And I want to be the one helping you. So 5 people that call in from watching this video, get into any of my courses, and I will pay for your elite credit repair for you, and I'll give you 50% off of Tradelines to help you build some age as well. And everything inside in that course is going to help you from step 1 all the way up from the most advanced in credit. I built it for me. The whole program was built for me. Now I'm just going to share it with you and show you the power of it. Today I'm at an 829 credit score. I was in the 515s when I built it. I've never looked back. I don't ever want to go backwards. I never will, because now I know the credit game. Let me help you learn what you need to do so you can protect your family. First 5 callers that call in right now, those are included. 904-420-7772. This is the difference between a CPN and fixing your reel. Talk to you guys in a few minutes. Let's roll.